What's up, duelists? Today's video is going to be a little bit different from your regularly scheduled duel programming. Today, we're going to be talking about the top 10 most powerful cards in Edison Format. No cap, HD, you know the vibe. Now, a little bit of a backstory before we hop right into things. Last night in the FL Discord, a discussion sort of sparked on which cards are the best in the format, which cards are the most powerful, which cards win the most, etc., etc. And as it turns out, it was quite hard for everyone to unanimously agree on what the best card is. So thankfully, user Michael was around and was able to put together a poll for us to ask the people what they thought was the best 10 or so cards in Edison Format. And user Michael was also gracious enough to collect the data and sort of compile it into the super cool chart. So shoutouts to him. Before we hop into these top 10 lists, leave your top 10 list in the comments below. And also, smash like, subscribe, and hit that bell button, because you know how it is. You know how it is. We're trying to get that. We're trying to get those numbers up, baby. We're trying to get Edison Format to number 1. If you're about it, you know what to do. You know what to do, Edheads. You know what to do, Edison gang. All right, you know the vibe. Let's kick things off with what I voted for in the poll. Number 10 on my list, Return from the Different Dimension. This card is dumb. If your deck can play this, which a couple decks can't, but most decks could, theoretically, it says pay half your life points, win the game. Not much else to say about it. I mean, you special summon a bunch of monsters and you kill your opponent. It's a really broken army in a can kind of card, and that's that. Number 9 on my list, Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon. This is the pre-errata Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon. So he's not like a once per turn whatever new Geo bullshit that he is now. He's just busted as fuck. I mean, he's the best boss monster in the format. You just summon him, you get another dragon, you go for OTKs. It's a ridiculous card. Comes out for free, huge body, summons another huge body, usually has very relevant effects. Dark dragon, all amazing stat lines, everything is great, everything is beautiful, everything is sexy dragon, dragon's best deck confirmed. Number 8 on my list, Substitute. This motherfucker is stupid. Now, at first glance, this card can't summon Frog the Jam, and that may seem like a serious problem, but it still sends the majority of your deck to the graveyard and sets up a lock where your opponent can't attack you and sets you up for future tribute summons and, future Pot of Avarices and whatever the fuck salvage nonsense you want. It's a broken as shit card. I mean, it doesn't get Frog the Jam, though, so had to put it at number 8. Number 7 on my list, Brain Control. This card is dumb. I've lost so many fucking games to this card. I mean, it's been errata today, so just goes to show how powerful this card is. This card is so fucking stupid. You'll set up a position where you're like, I can't possibly lose, and you'll be at +5, and then your opponent top decks Brain Control, and they fuck you, and you're just like, holy shit, this is unbelievable. Why is this card legal? And then you remove Brainwashings in your sideboard, and then you fuck them the next time they top deck on you, and then you laugh and make a video about it. Number 7 on my list, Giant Trunade. This card is an OTK enabler in half. This card is very difficult to stop. There's only a couple cards in the format that you actually want to play that negate this. You've got maybe Dark Bribe and Solemn Judgment, and that's about it. I mean, really, really nasty sort of sweeper. You generally only play this in decks where you're gonna OTK or you want to abuse your, continuous spells and traps. I don't fucking know. But it's a really busted card, and if you've ever played it, if you ever cast it, you understand. It's just very difficult to stop. Make sure your plays go through important stuff. Number 5, similar vein as Giant Trunade, Heavy Storm. Now this card's a little bit easier to stop because you've got Starlight Road and you've got Stardust Dragon, but this card fucking destroys everything instead of returning it to the hand. So you can use this as sort of like a way to generate advantage. You can use Heavy Storm as a way to pull ahead in even game states, or you can use it as a sweeper to OTK. So it's just a really stupid card. I mean, it's really, really powerful. Of course, it's very balanced in that, like, if your opponent isn't setting stuff or if they're playing frogs, it can be a dead card, but that's cap. It's not balanced. This card is dummy stupid. It's banned today. You know what the fuck is up. Number 4, Future Fusion. This is the pre-errata Future Fusion, I think. It's one of the erratas of the future. I don't fucking know. Basically, you play it, you reveal a fusion monster, you get a painful choice. 2 turns, you get a 5,000 beat stick. That's that. I mean, this card is fucking stupid. There's very few cards in the game where you activate it turn 1 and you win. And this is one of them. Number 3, Trap Dust Shoot. I had to put this card in my top 5. I get fucked by this card so much. If your hand is low activity and your opponent activates Trap Dust Shoot on turn 1, you're probably just going to lose that game. It's a really disgusting card. Similar vein as Future Fusion, where like on the first turn of the game, it's really, really good. Thankfully, it's limited to 1 in this format, and you don't have to worry about it too much. It's a bit sacky, but Number 2, I've got Cold Wave on my list. Cold Wave is a really stupid card. This card says, your opponent can't play the game for a full turn. No spells, no traps, baby, no setting. That's it. You got your monster effects, and that's it. That's it. Half your deck. Can't play it for a full turn. Very, very degenerate card. Usually play this before you do some really stupid stuff, like summon a Judgment Dragon, summon a Dark Arm Dragon, summon Red Eyes, whatever busted thing you want to summon. This card is very, very nasty. Gives you almost 2 full turns of not having to deal with your opponent's interaction, provided you can sweep them on the first turn, and then they can't set on their next turn. It's an absolute blowout of a card. Not much more to be said about this. And finally, last but not least, number 1, I've got Bronic, Dragon of the Ice Barrier. This is the pre-errata Bronic, Dragon of the Ice Barrier. One thing you'll note about my top 10 list is every card on here is either currently banned or has been errataed to be largely less playable. This card is fucking insane, and it goes in literally every deck. Every deck can play this card at no downside. It's an out to everything. You just bounce whatever is in your way. I think there's very few cards in the format that can't be targeted. I think the only ones I can think of are like... Fuck, I can't even think of any. This card just outs everything. It returns it to the hand too, so you can get around big synchro monsters like Stardust Dragon, Colossal Fighter that normally don't mind destruction so much. Just an insane card in general. Pumps your graveyard full of whatever you want. Discard your zombie monsters, discard your Light Sworns, whatever. This card is just stupid. I mean, it wins so many games. It's not even funny. It's iconic. It's awesome, and I think it's a perfect fit for number 1 on this list. Now that you guys have seen my top 10 picks for the best cards in Edison Format, let's go ahead and check out what everyone voted for in the poll. Boom, beautiful chart. Sound effects, laser beams. Really, really dope stuff. Really interesting stuff, actually. Got Cold Wave at number 1 with the most votes as well. 23 votes and ranked very, very highly. One thing that this data does factor in is how many people voted for it and how highly they voted for it. Naturally, you're going to see stuff that's voted for the most rank higher, and you're going to see things that were voted for highly or ranked highly higher. Interesting that Subsito did not make the top 20, and neither did Return from the Different Dimension, so that's a pretty big difference from my list, and I can't even honestly say that's wrong or right or what. I mean, it's hard to tell. This format, the power level is so, fairly balanced between the top level of stuff that's happening, and you could make an argument for like the top 50 being in the top 20, which I think is really cool about Edison Format. And another thing that's interesting is that people chose to include cards like Gores, Caius the Shadow Monarch, Honest. These cards I personally believe to be pretty fair cards. These aren't cards that are like, oh my god, I'm winning the game, I summoned a Caius. But they are really, really strong cards in their own right and probably the best at what they do. So it's interesting to kind of see that sort of take. And it's also interesting to see a card like Super Rejuvenation, which maybe even a few months ago I wouldn't have even considered strong enough in this format to see a list. But after Hydro Pump's innovations with the Dragon deck, a lot of people are factoring it as one of the most powerful spell cards in the format. So that's pretty crazy stuff. Pretty cool stuff to see. Now, of course, this is a pretty small sample size. There's like 35, I think, people who participated in this, maybe a little less, maybe a little more. Not super sure. But it's tight. It's tight. It's just cool to see this kind of thing. And if you guys want to participate in these types of discussions, I'm going to leave invites to the FL Discord and the EdisonFormat.com Discord in the description below. That's where we posted this poll. And come hang out, come play. There's a ton of people playing Edison Format every single day, honestly, in these servers looking for games. And there's a tournament coming up October 16th, which, if you want to practice for, being in these communities is one of the best places to be to practice for that tournament. Anyways, hope you guys like this kind of stuff. Leave your top 10 in the comments below. Peace out.